So before we get started with anything, let me first start off by saying thank you. We all know that the transition from the Teach Iowa site over to Iowa Works has been just that, a transition. And I want to thank all of you who work in education, who are our partners, for your patience, for your hard work, and for really communicating with us. And we will continue to work together to make sure that we are the best service for our educators, for our future educators, so we can best serve the state of Iowa. And again, for those of you who may have just joined, my name is Brian Dennis. I'm the Bureau Chief of Business Engagement. Some other folks that are along with us today is we have a couple of our team leads regarding our business engagement team. Their names are Nikki Litzel as well as Maria Morales. Nikki's actually going to be demoing a couple functionalities in our system a bit later on in our time. But just to talk a little bit about how today will run for our hour is I'm going to give you just a quick overview of our education jobs on Iowa Work site. At that point, we're going to break, have time for any questions or comments you would like to share. Feel free to put those in the chat. You can also definitely unmute and share those verbally. Maria is taking notes. Any questions we can answer during this call, we will. Others, we will definitely make sure we get back to you on responses. Given time, Nikki is going to do a demonstration of a couple functionalities within our IowaWorks system, and then we will have another bit of time for questions. So again, if you have not already put this on your identifier in our Zoom meeting, it'll be really helpful if you can put who you're representing, a school district, an AEA, just who you're representing as our education partners. The way you would do that is to hover over your name. It should give you 3 dots. A friend of mine made sure that I know those are called ellipses. I'd still call them the 3 dots. If you click on the 3 dots, it gives you the option to rename yourself, or you can definitely just put it in the chat. You can put who you are and who you're representing. Either of those would be fine. All right, so as we're getting ready to start here, I see it's now 11:06. I'm going to start. By the way, if any questions come in the chat, Maria and Nikki will also be tracking those questions as well. And again, I want to thank you very much for your time on this Monday morning. All right. So I confirmed earlier that what I was showing was the Iowa Workforce Development site that says education jobs on Iowa Works. And the reason I want to start here, that if you are not already familiar with this site is where we post a lot of our information regarding the transition, but also things that hopefully will be helpful to you in doing this work. So as I scroll down, one of the first things you will see on this site is the listing of the various pieces of part of this legislation and the piece of legislation led to the transition. If you continue to scroll, and I'm going to come back to some information momentarily, but this is where we store a lot of our information for assistance for educators. Currently, we have 3 fairly new videos on our site. These were posted 2-ish weeks ago, and I'm going to revisit these regarding, based on a lot of the questions that we receive regarding the transition and using the IowaWorks system. We also have a variety of desk aids that you can use regarding navigating our system. We have some previous webinar slides, and if you didn't know, IWD does have a YouTube channel where we store a lot of information on IWD as an organization, and especially given the work we're doing to partner with education on posting your jobs and filling your vacancies. There were a few different videos posted back at the beginning of the summer, back in the month of July. The videos that we have posted today are also there. So this YouTube channel can also be a great resource for you. But the single best resource that you're going to have in navigating our system part of this transition is partnering with our various business engagement consultants, or we use the term BECs. There's not a part of the state of Iowa that does not have a business engagement consultant assigned to it. As I said, my name is Brian Dennis. I'm the bureau chief of this team, but our team again serves the entire state of Iowa. So this document that is on the site that I'm showing, this has a listing of how the state is broken up by our business engagement consultants. Their names, email addresses, and phone numbers. as well as the second page, again, just gives you a little more detail beyond the map of the actual counties that they serve. I truly hope all of you have been in contact and know who your business engagement consultant is. But if you do not know who that person is or not sure that person's contact information, you can also find it on this form. All the phone numbers that are listed are their cell phones. The two individuals denoted in blue are, again, Maria Morales and Nikki Litzel. They're the team leads, and I am the bureau chief of the division. Additionally, as you're scrolling through here, as you can see, my cursor is probably turning to more of a finger pointing to these. If you hover over any of their email addresses and you hold down control while you click, it should give the option of opening up your email browser, excuse me, your email system to email them directly. Again, I want to stress that these individuals are really your first entry into working with IWD, and they really are wanting to work with you. They're experts on navigating their system, posting jobs, and if they run into any hiccup, they can also help you navigate through those things. So again, I just want to make sure that you all knew how to connect with your business engagement consultant. These folks will also be reaching out to you all directly, but again, if you want to connect with them, feel free to do so. A couple more items before we open up for questions is some additional information on our site. So we're holding 3 of these office hours. Again, today is the first one. We have 2 more this Friday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. and next Tuesday, the 30th, from 11 a.m. to noon. Again, the content will be very similar, walking through the education jobs on Iowa Works, having the demo, and really having open forums for any questions or comments. Obviously, in filling your position, there's 2 sides to this. There's obviously your work as the employers, as well as reaching out to job seekers. So just to let you know, we're also planning a couple of events specifically for job seekers for education jobs. We have 2 webinars that are set to be held on February 9th and February 23rd, both at 9 a.m. To register for these webinars, if you click this link, hopefully you're seeing the registration link. We have a series of webinars. The 2 specifically that we're talking about is, again, if you go to February 9th, 9 a.m., as well as February 23rd, 9 a.m. Those are the ones specifically for job seekers looking for positions in education, as well as you do not have to obviously wait until February. If you have individuals that are seeking employment, we are making sure to do a lot of outreach. However, if at any point any individuals are needing assistance, they can definitely contact our local America's Job Centers. Many people call them the IowaWorks offices. And if you're not sure where those offices are, if you click contact your local workforce office or IowaWorks office, this will bring up a map of the offices, but also the different locations we have throughout the state. If you click on any of these offices, it will take you to the contact location, the address, the phone number, the hours. So again, we really want to be as available as we possibly can to both you as education employers and education job seekers to please reach out to us and let us know how we can help. The last thing I want to cover before we open up for questions, and then we will have Nikki do a couple demonstrations, is talking about the current videos that are up on our site. And again, if you go to our YouTube channel, there are several videos regarding not only things specifically for educators, but just navigating the workforce system as a whole. And all these videos are pretty short. We wanted to make them concise, so understand that you have demands on your time, and also to speak to very specific questions that have been brought to us. And if there's other issues, definitely feel free to contact the BECs. You can contact myself. We definitely want to be of service. The first video is really an introduction. This is a welcome by our division administrator, Kathy Anderson. She unfortunately could not be here today, but she wanted to make sure that there is a welcome message. Just again, partnering with us through this transition And again, letting you know we are here to help you. Part two, again, all these videos are fairly short. I will say the one that I recorded is the longest. And this speaks about how to search and filter various jobs in our system. So this can be of assistance not only for individuals who are job seekers, but you as the employers and the job posters to see the jobs in our system to look for those positions. So this runs through how to go through that job search functionality of our system, how to filter those jobs down, as well as to look specifically for administrator position. That's a question that came up multiple times, was how does the system work if we're looking for a principal or administrator position? This video is about 18 minutes long. The tail end of that is specifically on locating those principal or administrator positions. The third video is how to manage our job orders. I'm sure this is something that many of you have already experienced, but just again, kind of a refresher on how to post job orders, especially to do a custom job order, especially if you're wanting to play with the time that that job is open, available before that job exhausts. The fourth video, which will also be similar to some of the things that Nikki is going to demonstrate, is how to do an advanced candidate search and to use our virtual recruiter options. Indexing is video number 5, and indexing is when you have your jobs populated from your sites instead of posting them directly on Iowa Works. I know a lot of schools and school districts, that is how they post their position, which is perfectly fine. But also this video talks a little bit about what that process is, what is needed for that process to happen, and also to make sure that everyone understands any common things that may happen which may interrupt that process. The biggest piece of that is jobs are populated through our indexing based on the URL of your schools, your districts, and the link to your career pages. So if at any point in time your career page changes, that is something that would be great to let us know, because sometimes that interrupts the link or causes the link to break, where maybe you're finding older jobs or in the system, but maybe something you just recently posted is not showing. If you run into any interruptions like that, that's a great time to reach out to us directly. So whether you reach out to the BECs, which I again would suggest would be your first contact, you can also reach out to me, but let us know that you're seeing jobs that are on, hey, I just posted something, I'm not seeing, it's showing a job I posted last month is here, but a job I posted last week isn't. Any things of that nature, reach out to us and we can work on that and get that figured out for you. And again, also, if you need something to help getting something posted, we can also work with you. The last piece, and then we will open up for questions, is we did get some questions on just printing information out of our system. So again, Maria does a great job of, again, a fairly short video, but talking about how to print out applicant information. Again, these videos are not only here on the Education Jobs on Iowa Works page, but also on our YouTube channel. With that being said, I'm now going to pause and really open up for any questions that we have from those of you that are joining us today. Again, feel free to unmute or to put any questions in the chat. While I've not seen anything pop up in the chat just yet, again, feel free to unmute yourselves as well if you have any particular questions. All right, we'll give it just a few more seconds in case anyone is typing. If not, we will turn this over to Nikki to walk through some demonstrations of a few items within our system. So again, we'll give it just a few more seconds in case people are typing. And again, feel free to unmute yourself. And from there, we'll have Maria, I'm so sorry, we'll have Nikki do the demonstration, and then we can come back for more question and answer openness for our time together. Okay, Nikki, would you like to begin? First off, I'm going to stop sharing so you can share.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. I'm actually going to jump in with a couple of questions that we get on a pretty common basis from a lot of our school partners. And one question that commonly gets asked is, I just posted a job and now I can't see it. I just went out and pretended I was a job seeker and I can't see my job. Or I see this thing called veteran hold and I'd like to shut that off. With our system with IowaWORKS.gov, the veteran hold is a permanent thing that cannot be changed. So within the first 24 to 48 hours of your job posting, it will be seen by veterans. Veterans have priority of service through the Jobs for Veterans Act. And that job that you post, every time you manually post a brand new job, it will only be seen by veterans for 24 to 48 hours. After that, it opens up to everybody who can log into our system. The other question we get pretty commonly is there a way to post our jobs internally only and not externally? Currently, IowaWORKS.gov is only an external posting of jobs, so there is no internal, external way of currently posting jobs. But we've had those two questions are probably the most common questions that have come from our school partners. So I just wanted to kind of jump in and hopefully proactively answer some of those questions. At this time, I'm going to now share my screen and I'm going to jump in and demonstrate some applicant management, as Brian had mentioned, that we can show you. As Brian mentioned, the videos talk about how to post jobs. Now we want to be able to share how to track those applicants once you're in that recruiting phase of actually trying to find those good connections and those good fits for your job postings. And the first thing you want to do, I want to talk a little bit about Virtual Recruiter, which is a pretty neat feature of IowaWORKS. And if you go to this menu here on the side, everybody's going to have a little different setup, but it's under communications. And if you click on Virtual Recruiter, it will take you to the next phase of that. And as you can see, there's a virtual recruiter that can work for both job seekers and employers. And so this top part is basically for the job seeker to put themselves on the virtual recruiter list. I'm very interested in a teaching job and I'd like to be alerted when a new job gets posted. So they can set up a virtual recruiter to receive job alerts as a job seeker. You as the employer can set up a virtual recruiter to create a new resume alert. So you'll receive resume alerts when somebody posts their resume that may be a fit that would match your job posting. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And as you can see, there's a few tabs going across up here, and there is a quick way to set up the virtual recruiter, and there's an advanced way to set up the virtual recruiter. And so I'm going to just go ahead and obviously the advanced is going to have all of the same things that the quick one does. So you can kind of see down here, there's different ways to pick that in a quick way. And then you can do a search and it will pull up candidates that match your criteria under the quick search. I'm going to actually demonstrate advanced. And so one thing we recommend, you can pick the desired work location where people are expressing that they want to work. We recommend that you keep this broad. And honestly, when you're doing your searches for your recruiting purposes, you'll probably want to keep things as broad as possible so you are including any potential candidates in the process as you're doing that recruiting. So we recommend keeping that desired work location to Iowa, but again, you could narrow that down. And then here's some different ranking criteria that you can pick from. And so we can say occupation. So you can pick the ranking criteria of choosing an occupation. And so there's lots of different things this pulls in through the ONET, is a system that we use that helps basically define all the jobs in the state of Iowa through Department of Labor. But this is different ways to type in your occupation. And we're going to say, and so there's all kinds of different ways to do, well, actually we want to take this educational instruction and library occupations. And you can see there's lots of different options to choose from. And so we can pick education teachers post-secondary. And so you can see that comes up here. And so you can also pick occupational experience. And candidates with certain experience in your selected occupation, you can pick certain number of months of experiences in that occupation. Salary is an option. You can pick what their desired salary is. Again, we recommend keeping it a little bit more open. Education level, we know that's important. We definitely want to have somebody, depending again, if it's a teacher, we'd want them to have some type of a degree, a bachelor's degree, depending on, again, the occupation. In some cases, we know some schools are also even posting jobs with custodians, electricians, different occupations, cooks, and different things. So different levels of experience and degrees will probably be required depending on the occupation. But for today's purposes, we're picking the bachelor's degree. Again, full-time, part-time, there's lots of ways you can look at narrowing this down on your filtering criteria. As a teacher, most likely you're not going to be a remote worker, but there's so many different ways you can continue to filter this into what you're looking for your job applicants. Again, the location of where they're living, you can do that. And then just maybe different criteria about just general criteria, their resume status, all of these things. You can narrow down what you're looking for in your applicants. So then when you've chosen all of your different criteria, then you can hit advanced resume search, and it's going to bring up some different people that might match that category. And you're able to go and click on all of these applicants that might be in our system and may not have specifically applied for your specific job, but you do get a list of people who might have those qualifications that you might be looking for in our virtual recruiter system. Okay, I'm going to go back. This might be a good time to open it up for any questions. I don't know if any have come in the chat or if anybody wants to ask any questions about what I just briefly demonstrated.
Well, Nikki, this is Brian. I did want to jump in because I believe when you were demoing, you clicked on teachers post-secondary, but also obviously for K through 12, the position you could click on would be teachers all other. That will bring in more of the K through 12 teachers. And again, when you look at those, there are jobs that are categorized such as types of teachers, including or not including special education as well. So as you click on teachers, there are, like I said, teachers, one of those catch-all terms, but there are several things. And back to one of the things that Nikki mentioned, because this is a question I've received a couple of times myself, is that categorical piece when it comes to how our jobs are listed. And just to make sure that we're clear with that, because Iowa Works is a state workforce agency job board, and we have to be available for all types of employment, we have to use a categorization system called ONET. And ONET, I believe this is what Nikki said as well, ONET is the system used by the Department of Labor of categorizing all jobs that currently exist. So we are not able to change that list. So that is where when she showed you the different categories of jobs, if you put in the position of teacher, and this is why I want to go back to referencing even that second video, which talks about how you even look at different types of jobs. As you put in the job teacher, several industries have some type of position that mentions teacher. So from there, you want to filter down more to education, library, occupations. That is going to be what is going to fit more education types of jobs. And from there, you will see that listing being much more relevant to the education sector. So again, just to revisit that, that's why when you type in teacher, you're still going to get potentially a few different categories. And so the system can understand the types of jobs that you're either posting or looking for. That is where you get very specific to the types of occupation. Again, education library speaks to the vast majority of positions that exist within your education realms. But to Nikki's point, again, do you have any questions regarding what she just showed you in the system? And Sandy, I did see and I did get a notification as well, but regarding what your particular question is, Nikki, do you have any questions or comments regarding what Nikki showed you or what I covered at the beginning of the presentation?
Okay, I'm not seeing anything coming in and nobody's unmuting, so I can go ahead and move on to another way to show how to manage applicants, if that's okay. I'm going to share my screen again. So back to kind of the main page for your school district, you'll see up at the top, there will be some folders. Great thing about Iowa Works is there's lots of different ways to get to kind of the same place, but for today's demonstration, I'm going to show you an option that I commonly use. Is at the top, there is a human resource plan, and if you click on recruitment plan, you can show those additional folders underneath that, and there is a way to filter your applicants. So we talked about looking at potential job applicants that match your job description. Now, once they've applied, how can we look at filtering them down? So you can click on recruitment plan and job applicants. And then you have a few options here to view applicants for currently open and available job orders, which I have that selected, or you can click applicants for all job orders, including inactive ones. And a good example of that might be, we filled that position for that teaching position, but we had some really great applicants, and I want to go back and look at the applicants that applied. And I can't quite remember which job that was. So there's ways to look at older job orders and maybe find ways to reach out to those previous applicants from older job orders. For now, we're going to click on the applicants for currently open and available job orders. And this is the current job orders that we have for this particular school that are active and open. And we're going to, I'm actually not going to pick a specific. As you can see, there's an electrician, there's food service, there are educators, teachers. So multiple jobs are listed. And then we're going to click over here on job filter criteria. And again, you have lots of different options. We haven't picked any specific job. And you can pick the application date, if they've applied in the last year or the last 7 days. You can pick a rating, which actually you can go in and give those applicants ratings on if they're suitable, exceptional, high, medium, low, or any other ratings that you would like to give them. How their skills match. If you want, you can pick a percentage of how much their skills are matching your job posting. Application method, how they're applying. All of these are things that you will include in your job posting when you post the job. So these are now on the back end, once you have those applicants and you're filtering, just to kind of take a closer look and review those applicants. Again, desired job location, You can pick the distance of how far away they are. Education, this is a big one. We want to make sure, you know, if it's a teacher, that they have that specific degree or a bachelor's degree. So you can actually pick the education level. You can pick the desired salary. There's lots of options there. Again, if you're looking at narrowing it down just with the applicants, if let's say you have 20, 30 applicants and you really want to narrow that down as you're looking at those applicants, kind of save time. This is a way to filter that down. Any specialized requirements that you might be asking for, again, these are things that you will also include in your job posting, but you can also check these options of what types of shifts they're looking for, if they have a driver's license. Because this is a filter, again, that works for all jobs in our system, there's lots of different options to pick from with typing speed and things like that. But once you've made those selections in your filter, then you click on filter here. And it will narrow down the applicants that you have for specific jobs. And so that's another way to just manage those applicants. If you are saying, we've had a few schools say we have some people applying that aren't actually qualified. What do we do with those applicants? Well, you can filter those down and just make these selections that you're only interested in looking at the applicants that match what you're looking for, that match your job description. Okay, so I'm going to say, are there any questions regarding anything with this? Pretty quiet group we have today, Brian.
Well, it's definitely it's definitely a Monday, but as you can see, a few of the things that Nikki demonstrated was how to manage your applicants as they come in, as they're applying, as you're trying to filter through. I've done a decent amount of hiring myself and understand sometimes the challenge is I got multiple applicants trying to whittle those down. We also understand we really want to make sure we're helping market those positions so you get a robust number of applicants as well when it comes to those things. We really want to make sure that this is an opportunity. Both today's session, the session on the 26th, and the session next Tuesday is really an opportunity for you to ask any questions. So if you feel comfortable asking questions now, again, feel free to unmute, feel free to put things in the chat. Or if you want to reach out to us separate from this meeting, that is definitely fine. You have the listing of the business engagement consultants listed on our education jobs on Iowa Works. We did have a few people join after we got going a little bit. So for those folks that may have missed the first few minutes of our presentation, again, I want to stress, my name is Brian Dennis. I'm the business engagement.
Last week I had 9 positions posted, and now I can only see 2 of the positions I posted. It's possible, Amy, you are with Boone Community Schools. It's possible that the jobs you posted have expired without actually looking specifically at your account. One other question, this is actually hopefully a good point to bring up as well. When you post a job with Iowa Works, it defaults to 30 days. So that job posting, again, for the first 24 or 48 hours will only be seen by veterans in our system. But then that job, once it's posted, it posts for a standard 30 days. You are welcome to extend that time beyond the 30-day window. So you're able to go in and I actually worked with a school the other day who extended it out through the summer. So obviously, if you fill the position before the summer, you can go in and change the status of that job and make it no longer active. But I'm wondering, Amy, if that is the problem, but we can definitely reach out to you offline and see what's going on with that situation with the 2 positions. Let's see. Did you cover how to email applicants? If not, I can wait until that is covered or review the recording if available. I joined this late, so I apologize. Okay, how to email applicants. I believe, Sandy, you're asking about maybe through the Iowa Works system, how to do that. I'm going to write that down here.
I'm keeping track of all the questions, Nikki, that we don't writing them down.
Okay. So I'm gonna say when you go to view applicants, and go back. Well, so we've filtered those applicants, but there are definitely ways to contact those applicants. You can click on the individual applicant, and then you're able to email them through our system directly that way. Sometimes if they post an external resume, you might get their email address through an external resume or an internal resume that they post on IowaWorks. So they may have their contact information on there. Or again, you can email them directly through our system, and that will offer an option on how to do that once you're in that applicant's viewing.
As I'm looking through a couple of the questions as well, and Maria, thank you for tracking all these. By the way, as we are tracking all the questions, we will create a document that has the answers to all of these, as well as we need to create any supplemental things as well. So I'm looking at the different position. I am looking for one that says from Catherine Hubbard, which is, do you have the option to send a reference check like Teach Iowa did? So Catherine, and you can put in the chat, feel free to unmute yourself. In the Teach Iowa system, did you include a link for doing the reference check? Did you send an actual document? I'm just curious, on the Teach Iowa system, what did that process look like?
Good morning. So there was a they had a form on there that you could just click and say the applicant sorry, the applicant had to include email addresses of all of their references, and then you would just say click the button that said send reference check form, and Teach Iowa did that for you.
Oh, okay. And again, we will make sure we can give you a more robust answer with that. My understanding is you can definitely add in various required pieces of those, as far as using the system to send a direct reference check. I will get more back on that to you. I believe you can definitely add in pieces of links that you want them to follow, but sending that piece of it, I will have to double check on that, but we have that down, and we will get that back to you when, again, we create our master document of answering all these questions. So, but that helps to understand how Teach Iowa did it, so we know if it's kind of an apples to apples functionality within our system. So Catherine, thank you for that. Also, I am remiss, as you see, one of the individuals answering questions that I see in the chat is Christine Nillis. Christine, or Chris Nillis, is part of our tech team. So again, she works a lot of the things behind the scenes as we get questions in. So she is answering a few questions in the chat as well. I know Maria's tracking these, but as I'm scrolling through to see other questions going back to the top. Also, as we're getting questions coming in, again, a few people joined after we started, which is absolutely fine. We're so glad you are all here. If you have not added who you're representing, that also really helps us as well, in case we have to look at maybe your specific account. So if you can list the school district, school, AA, whoever you're representing as an education partner to your name in the system, that is really, really helpful. If by any chance you're not sure how to do that, if you just want to add that in the chat, that will help us track the various questions.
And Sandy, I'm gonna share my screen again and demonstrate how to send a message through the system. I think I can demonstrate that if that's helpful. So when there is an, oops, sorry, share. When there is an individual applicant, specifically for, like, this person applied for the electrician position, and this, you click actually on the applicant, and you go through and click on that person's name, or you could click over here on details. And then that brings up the contact information, which, for example, this person doesn't appear to have an email address. But what you can do is click on their overview information and all of the things here. And then down here, there is a link that you can click on that says, send this individual a message. And that, again, will send them a message through the system by doing it that way. Again, so it's applicant overview. And if there is no email address listed, you are still able to email them through the system by clicking on that link there. And it will pull up kind of like a kind of a generic way. You can put a subject line there. And this is again this is called an internal way to send a message to an applicant. And then once you've got everything you want in there, you could even send an attachment of things. There's different things you can do on this page. Then you would hit send and the message should go off to that job applicant. Any other questions? Hopefully that helps answer that.
I want to speak to a question that Brandon, it looks like Brandon from Carlisle. I actually have been doing some work regarding the Carlisle system myself. So, and this is one of the things that I've actually asked as one of how our things are populated is Brandon's question is using Frontline. And so you post through Frontline, then jobs show up on Iowa Works. And so looking at that, we're making sure that the links that are used to pull those. I'm not an IT person, so forgive my very layman language, but making sure that the links are correct to pull those over. So Brandon, for your school specifically, this got brought to my attention. I'm actually working on that currently to get an answer. So Brandon, I have your question down. So I will be getting back to you because again, that's one that I am working on myself to get figured out about Carlisle. And that's what I would also ask any of you, that if you find those particular things that, hey, and for those of you that may have joined at the beginning or a little after the beginning of today's presentation, that as you see things with postings that are not showing up, like may typically have been there, that's a great time to reach out to your specific BEC. Again, I'll put my email in the chat, but again, definitely you can work with your BECs to bring those up. So if there is something happening that we can address and get that fixed for you quickly, we will definitely do that. We can't fix something we don't know about. So again, letting us know if there's any hiccups there, we can then work on that. So again, I'm going to put my email in the chat, but again, starting with whoever serves your local area as the BEC is a perfectly fine way to start with it. And we truthfully do work as a team. So if they need to pull in other people, they need to pull in myself. I think we need to bring in a tech expert like Chris, who knows all the things. We work together as a team to make sure we serve you. But Brandon, I will follow up regarding Carlisle.
Hey, Brian, this
Yes.
is Chris. Can I jump in and show some of the questions I think are around
Indexing?
how jobs,
Mm-hmm.
how the employer can find their jobs if they're indexed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You read my mind, and I'm going to mute myself because I tend to talk. So feel free, Chris. Chris, I don't think I've made you co-host. So if you can bear with me, I will do that so you can share your screen.
Sure. And Amy, I hope you don't mind, but I am going to actually use Boone County School District to show you this because it was your question that kind of prompted me to answer this for you.
And Chris, you should have co-host privileges now.
Okay, Brian, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay, so just like Nikki demonstrated a little bit ago, you can see if you post your job orders internally, or you have posted your job orders internally or manually, or one of the Iowa Works staff posted them for you, when you log into your account, you can go to your human resources plan and your job orders, and you can see your job orders. Now, I'm looking at all job orders. There's usually a filter over here so you can see your internal, and we can see your internal and your external, or those jobs that we index in for you as well. But employers can only see the jobs that they posted or that staff posted for them. And so, Amy, when you go here, you're only going to see those jobs that you manually posted. But there is a way for you to see all the jobs for your school district. And I know that and I'm going to log out to do this. If you searched, for Boone here, it might get a little difficult to see those. So I'm going to come into this additional search options, and there's lots of ways to search, right, across this top tab. And I'm going to suggest that if you want to see your indexed jobs, you use the employer search. So I'm going to click on that. And again, I can select my area. Right now I don't have any area selected. I would recommend looking statewide. So I'm going to look in Iowa. And then just to keep things simple, I'm going to look for employers by first character. So Boone starts with a B, and why did my search work funny? That's always not what you want when you're showing someone. There we are. And that brings up all of the B's, or employers that start with B. And I am scrolling. I apologize for that. But I do know on page 2, I can find, because they are in alphabetical order, my Boone Community School Districts. Now, since I logged out, it's being a little goofy.
Chris, I just saw it. Do you see it?
Boone Community School District. Thank you. And when I click on the little digit, then, oh my gosh, this does happen occasionally where it says that there's results. And when you click on that link, it doesn't give you the results. And that's a glitchy, it is a weird glitchy thing. And a lot of times if you just try again, and this time I'm just going to do Boone in the keyword search, and if that helps. There we are. What should happen, and it could be because I'm sharing in the meeting, sometimes that my bandwidth is not great sometimes when I'm sharing in a Zoom meeting, and it will do this, but it should display all of the jobs related or that are in there, whether they are indexed, whether they are entered directly by the employer. I will stop sharing and do that again. And I'll put a screenshot in the chat. So hold on, please be patient with me. This is just something I know occasionally does happen when I'm sharing during a meeting. Oh boy. How do I give you back control, Brian?
I believe I can take back control. Give
Can
me
you take it?
I
Okay,
believe I can. Give me one moment here.
no problem. Yeah,
Okay.
you did. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So while and I believe I'm showing the education jobs on Iowa Work screen as well. So just to revisit some of the things, because again, we continue to get questions in the chat. And by the way, thank you all for doing that. That really helps us as we're working through the various questions that you have as part of this process. Is I saw a few different ones um that came in regarding similar issues to what I got one from Jody. So I just want to say that we are tracking all the questions. Number one, and those of you that have been unmuting and sharing those questions, Maria's been tracking those. Everything you put in the chat is fantastic. That way we can pull the chat after today's call. And I just want to thank Chris for jumping in to really demonstrate many of these things that we're doing from a technological side. So here's that we'll definitely do, because I want to reopen up from additional questions. We have about 5 minutes left. Is we are tracking every single question that you're sending to us. And for those things we're already working on, we'll continue to work on. For anything new that we are getting, we will do these. And then we can reach out. If you have a very specific question to your account, that's one of the reasons why I asked you to please put the school, the district, whoever you represent, so we can reach out to you directly. But secondarily, things that are broader, navigating the system, or things that we find that we are now brought to our attention, we will make sure to share out as well. But we have about 5 minutes or so left, as I'm seeing lots of questions in the chat. And again, thank you all for those questions. But are there other things that you would like to bring to our attention regarding navigating the system? Any questions as far as, again, regarding applicants? I do want to just revisit, and I just want to go back to the beginning. If anyone joined after, let's say about 5-10 minutes into today's call, we also are having webinars from the job seeker side, which we're doing on February 9th and February 23rd at 9 a.m. If you were to, again, to find how individuals can see and register for those webinars, if you go to where it says assistance for job seekers, that is this registration link. If you click on the registration link, what it will bring you is several dates. Depending on where you have your mouse, sometimes the scroll bar kind of hides a little bit. If you go to the scroll bar right here on the right hand side of the screen, you can go to different dates. And again, we see February 9th at 9 a.m. as well as February 23rd at 9 a.m. Those are webinars specifically for job seekers looking for those education type positions. So again, if you have individuals that are curious about this, I know the other side of our house, the job seeker side, is definitely working on pushing out that information through various social media platforms, and making sure that those opportunities are made available to people as well. So given the bit of time we have left, are there additional questions individuals want to either unmute themselves or put in the chat? And again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. All right, we have only a couple minutes left. Again, my name is, that's what I did not do. So what I will do is I will put in the chat again, I do want to stress, please don't hesitate to utilize the work and the great skills of our business engagement consultants. And if you're looking for their contact information, they're here. If you click on this link, it will bring you to a map that it shows you how the state is broken up. But also the second page of that has these particular counties that each BEC covers, as well as their phone number, which is their cell, and their email addresses. If you click control and click on the email addresses, it should open up where you can directly email any of those BECs. Addition to that as well, I am again putting my email address in where feel free to email me as well. Again, the BECs are fantastic and are really here to help you. But if anyone did want to reach out to me or have any questions, feel free to do that. So again, there is my email as well, brian.dennis@iwd.iowa.gov. With that, we are almost at the noon hour. I'm sure you all have many things to do on this lovely morning. I just want to thank all of you for joining us today. We do have 2 additional office hours this Friday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., as well as next Tuesday from 11 a.m. to noon. Again, our goals will be very similar, and all the information, all the questions we are tracking and getting answers to you individually, as well as anything we need to share out for the group. So with that being said, my clock just rolled over to noon. Again, thank you all very much. Have a lovely rest of your day. And again, please feel free to reach out to us in any ways we can assist you. Thank you again very, very much. Again, welcome everybody for our office hours today. So again, my name is Brian Dennis with the Workforce Development's Business Engagement Division, and thank you for joining us in our office hours regarding the education jobs on IowaWorks. So here's really the purpose of what we're going to cover today. So the first little bit of our time together is me just showing you the site that I'm currently sharing to education jobs on IowaWorks, primarily because that's where a lot of updates and resources regarding IowaWorks and education job, that's where a lot of that information is going to be found. So I'm assuming a lot of you may have already been here, but if you haven't, this is a great page just to bookmark to go back and find any resource, any updates regarding education and work in IowaWorks. After I go through this bit of a demonstration or just kind of showing you the page, we're definitely going to pause for any questions and comments you may have. After we answer those questions, feel free to put them in the chat as well. If there's something we can't answer right now, we'll definitely get back to you. Maria Morales, who's one of our team leads, is helping with tracking questions. But at the end of that kind of open time, Nikki Litzel, who's our other team lead, is going to walk us through some actual functionality of the IowaWorks system and show you how to manage jobs and really manage applicants in that platform. And then we'll have really the rest of the time after Nikki's demonstration, again, really opening up for any questions. The real purpose of this is to give you an opportunity or a forum to ask us any questions. And again, if there's anything that we can't answer right now, we are tracking all your questions and we will definitely get back to you. So with that, let me walk you through our education jobs on IowaWorks site. So as I'm scrolling down again, this site is where we have a lot of our resources and a lot of our updates. And you're going to find some of this information is going to be historical, some is going to be a little more recent. But as you're seeing, where it first starts here is really just kind of tell you how we got to us all working together, that Iowa Senate File 560 made the transition from Teach Iowa to utilizing the IowaWORKS.gov platform for posting jobs. And again, talks a little bit more of the details of that. I'm sure you're all well aware of those changes. Beyond that, if you continue to scroll down, we have some different types of resources and information from kind of both sides of the house. So one side is essentially for educators, and really what we look at as education employers, and information for individuals seeking employment in education. So we have our job posting guide. We have currently 6 fairly new videos, meaning the past 2-3 weeks. All of these are fairly short. I'm going to talk a little bit more about them here in a moment. If you continue to scroll down, we have some additional desk aids and documents that can be really useful as you're navigating our system. We pushed out some information back in July, right? We're doing the transition. So that is the slide deck from that. IWD has a fairly robust YouTube channel where we have our videos and trainings that we do record and post online. So this is the link to that YouTube channel that has not only the videos that I'm going to go back over here in a little bit, but also some trainings and videos from back over the summer, and even some things before the transition that you may find useful about knowing about IWD and our various systems. And then what I want to take just a few minutes and show you is our map and contact information for our business engagement consultants. So I hope everyone right now is seeing a map of the state of Iowa with a lot of blue lines across it. So what I'm showing now is, this is a 2-page document that shows people how to contact the various BECs. And again, you may already know your BEC, they may be your best friend. But in case anyone doesn't or just curious, how would they contact their business engagement consultants? This is the state of Iowa broken down from a visual format of the various business engagement consultants. So we have 16 BECs that cover the state of Iowa. But beyond just how the map breaks down how the state looks, on the second page is how you can find a little more information. So first off, what local office that these individuals work at. A couple of them go between a few different offices, but more importantly, the counties that they cover, their name, their phone number, and all of these phone numbers are their cell phones, and then their email addresses. So as you can see here, we have 2 team leads, including those 16 BECs. We have Maria Morales and Nikki Litzel. But if you want to contact any of them, if you want to call them, again, their cell phone numbers. If you want to email them within this document, if you hold down control and click on that email address, it should open up your email system and let you directly contact your business engagement consultant. So these individuals are meant really to be your front line for assisting you in understanding anything to do with IowaWorks, especially from the role as an employer. Posting jobs, looking at job descriptions, questions, those things. These BECs are really great individuals to work with. They are always going to be available to you. Give them a call, send them an email. You can also always reach out. You have the 2 team leads that are kind of denoted in blue, and myself, again, as the bureau chief over this team. You can always reach out to me. Before we close today, I'll make sure my email is in the chat as well, but feel free to reach out to any members of our team if you have questions, and we really truthfully want to be here to help you. Before I go back and show you kind of our short training videos, I did want to cover a couple other things from the job seeker side of this. I know that's a question we also get is, we want to make sure our applicants know how to access your system. So as we go down here, there's a couple different events planned for individuals that are seeking employment in education. Coming up on both February 9th and February 23rd, we have a couple special webinars planned for job seekers looking for employment in the realm of education. So down here at the bottom where it says job seeker special webinars planned, if you click where it says register to attend, this is going to bring up the registration page. And just to check my screen, am I showing the registration page right now? Wonderful. Over here, because sometimes, depending on where your cursor lands, this scroll bar is sometimes, unfortunately, a little hidden. But if you scroll down specifically for the webinar that is on February 9th at 9 a.m. and the webinar that is on February 23rd at 9 a.m., those are specifically for job seekers looking for employment in education. Again, you can go down, register, and that's how you can register for those 2 webinars. However, you do not have to wait until February 9th, and you can definitely, if you have questions, you definitely ask questions after February 23rd. And the best way to really get your questions answered, to get assistance, is to contact or go into your local IowaWorks office. This link will take you to our IowaWorks page, which lists all of our offices. There's a map here, but honestly, if you know what should be your closest office, if you click on any of these particular offices, it will give you not only the location, but the contact information. So our offices are typically open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. Obviously, holidays may impact that, but individuals can always go into an office. They don't have to have an appointment. They can walk in and go, I need help, and there will be someone there to help you. They typically can give this assistance one-on-one, especially as they're trying to move into education. Jobs in education are so vital for our state, so vital for our country. We really want to make sure we're responsive to that. So number one, we're going to kind of return back to the employer side of this, but definitely as we're talking about individuals seeking employment, they can always go to an IowaWORKS office. They can definitely attend the webinar. They can give us a call, make contact, and we will assist them. Okay. One last thing. While I obviously want people to know how to contact their BECs, when in doubt, you also have these general information. This is the primary phone number for our Business Engagement Division, and this is the email address for our Business Engagement Division. But I always want to say, use that BEC map, contact them. You can also contact me. Again, I'll make sure my email is in the chat, and we again are here to help you. Before I pause for questions or comments, I did want to just briefly talk about this updated training video series. So first off, there's 6 videos. All of them are short, meaning all of them are less than 20 minutes, and a couple of them are significantly shorter than that. But just to give you an idea of what these videos are, the first one is the introduction, really, of our welcome message. So that message actually given by our division administrator. Her name is Kathy Anderson. And it's really just making sure that we really just want to reinforce the message. We really are here to work together, to partner, and to assist you. The second video is the first one that I do. And to be fair, it is the longest because if you haven't noticed by now, I can talk a little bit. So this video, though, I think is really useful because this shows you how to search for and filter through job orders. And this is really, really, I think, going to be important for not only you as employers, but also applicants. So this video, which again is right around 18 minutes, it walks you through how to do a job search. And there's various ways how to use our job search system to find jobs. And so I run you through how to look for a general position like a teacher, how you can break that down a little more for specific types, how you can look for a specific school district, all those things. But beyond that is also how to search for a position, let's say like an administrator or a principal. All these videos are in reflection to questions we've gotten, and looking for in the administrative principal position is specifically been brought up. So the tail end of the second video is how to do a search for the posting of an administrator or a principal, specifically how you would do that. So again, I'm biased as the one doing the talking. I think every second of it is really valuable, but definitely the tail end of that thought specifically about that job search for administrative positions. Part 3 talks about job orders. That is done by Nikki Lissel, who you hear from here shortly, about how to do not only a basic job order, but a custom job order, especially because, again, sometimes we've heard individuals say, my jobs are closing after 30 days. That's not what I want. I want to say remain open. Walks through how to do those steps. Part 4 is actually ran by Maria Morales, who talks about how to do both a candidate search and a virtual recruiter. So again, how you can actually have the system help you when looking for candidates. Nikki's going to show a little bit of that as well today. The 5th part is indexing. So indexing, you may not be familiar with that term. So you may have heard terms like, hey, your jobs are going to automatically be posted to IowaWORKS. IowaWORKS is going to pull your jobs from another site and populate it. That is really what indexing means. Okay, it's a specific process in which jobs can be moved from one website to our site. So this video, which is about 5 minutes or so long, this talks to you about kind of what are the requirements for doing indexing. And again, if you have questions about how to look for index jobs. So number one, feel free to look at that. I'm also working on an indexing kind of overview resource that will be posted probably next week regarding this. But again, if you have any questions on indexing, and I field a lot of the questions that we come in, and a lot of questions we get from schools, from educators, are things that, whether you know the term indexing or not, reflects on index. And so video 5 might be worth a watch as well. And again, if you have any questions about my jobs aren't showing, some of my jobs are showing, older jobs are showing, but newer jobs aren't, that probably goes back to the indexing process. It usually is very simple for us to troubleshoot or get some information to you. So again, feel free to reach out to your local BEC, to a team lead, to myself, and we will definitely walk that process through with you. The last piece, Maria does this one regarding applicant printing. We had heard some individuals state, hey, when I'm trying to print information on for my applicant, not everything is being is printing out, or things are getting cut off. Again, a fairly short video that walks through that. All right. So with that, I'm going to pause here and take a breath and open it for any questions. But I do just want to thank you all again for your time on this Friday, and really, again, want to really advise you all to use this site, but reach out to us. So with that being said, I've eaten up almost 20 minutes. I'm going to pause, and please open the floor for any questions. Feel free to either unmute yourself or put things in the chat.
So I have a question.
Yeah, I think that's Kim. Yes, Kim.
It is. So is there a way, so after 1 month, they all get deleted and then we have to go back in and re-put them in?
No, and that's a lot of, number one, video number 3 that Nikki does talk specifically how to do that, but
Okay.
that is part of that. So to answer that question, Nikki Maria, you post more jobs than I do and help this. So tell me anything wrong. 30 days is the default. However, you can definitely customize that close date. Okay, so I'm sorry, Nikki's video, which is video number 3,
Or 3. Okay.
goes through that process. Okay,
Great. Thank you.
absolutely. Other questions or comments?
Nikki, can you explain or go over a little bit more about the default, how you can, it's at 30, like Brian was saying, 30 days, but before I start coughing, how you can change it to 6 months or longer. And then after that time is up, how you can go back and find them and edit it. So that way they can just copy it. That way they don't think they have to restart the process all over.
Yes, I can demonstrate that when the time comes as well. But again, as Brian mentioned, it is in the video if you take some time to watch the video. But if you do the short, there's 2 different ways to create a job. You can do a shorter version or a more advanced version of creating the job. If you do the shorter version, it just defaults to 30 days. But then after you save and create the job, then just go back in. You can make any edits to that job, whether you do the short version or the long version. You can go back and edit that job once it's created. And then to answer your question, none of your jobs get deleted. They actually get archived. So even when that job expires, or if you fill the role on that job and you want it to no longer be actively posted, you can shut that part of it off so it's not seen, but it's always going to be there. It's going to be archived. And so let's say you want to do that a year later, you can go into that archived or expired job and you can copy that and then just update it with new information and new contact information if you have that, whatever that is. You could even change the title of the job. There's all kinds of things you can do by copying an archived job, but those never get deleted from our system.
Thanks for that, Nikki and Kim. Hopefully that began to answer your question. Perfect. Okay, are there other questions or comments regarding what I've already shown you, things that you've experienced, things you want to have addressed right now? We definitely have time for that, or we can start, Nikki can start demonstrating a few different things. So again, though, this is meant to be your time. Feel free to ask us any questions. All right, so I'm going to give you just a few more seconds, but Nikki, I don't think I made you co-host yet, so I'm going to do that. So then you can demo here in a few moments. So give me just a moment. Nikki, you should now have co-host abilities, but I do want to do one last call for questions or comments. Pardon me, and if not, I will turn this over to Nikki to walk us through a couple things in the system. All right, and Nikki, I'm going to stop sharing so you can share.
Okay, thank you, Brian. As Brian said, I am Nikki Lipsel. I'm the business engagement consultant out of the Waterloo office, and I am also the team lead. And so I'm going to demonstrate a couple of things. Obviously, as Brian mentioned, we have some videos, but if there's any other questions that aren't getting answered, always reach out to your local business engagement consultant and we can help walk you through those things. One of the things I want to point out, we get a lot of questions about some things that are kind of repeats, and this is also in our video, but I think somehow it gets missed. I've had a few, a popular question I get from the schools are, I just posted my job and then I went out there to look for it and I don't see it. And none of the other people on my staff see it either. So why is it not showing up when I go search for that job? Within the first 24 to 48 hours, that job is only seen by veterans in our system. There is a Jobs for Veterans Act that jobs that get posted, every single job for every single employer, including schools, veterans have priority of service. So only veterans will see it for the first 24 to 48 hours. After that, it gets released to everybody statewide. So if you're going in and looking for that and you're not a veteran, you're not going to see it. And it does say the status update on your job. Once you post it and you go back in, it has a status update of your job. It also tells you if it's expired when you go to do that. One other common question that comes from the schools and a lot of our employers is I want these jobs posted internally only, just for my internal staff to see them. I believe Teach Iowa had that feature. That is one thing currently IowaWorks does not have an internal versus external job posting where you can mark jobs as internal only. So just keep that in mind. Once you post that job and you choose to have it posted online or out there and make it an active job, it's not an internal only posting. So hopefully that helps answer a couple of questions in advance. Okay, I am going to now share my screen. And I think, can everyone see that I'm looking at Waterloo schools. And I'm going to
Yes,
actually,
Nikki, that's
because
what
there
you're
was
showing.
a question of, okay. Because there was a question about the jobs, I'm going to go into job orders here and see, this is the online status open and available. This is where that open and available status happens. And you can actually go in, you can see that it was created, and I'm actually going to click on this. We'll go into the job. Once you go into that job, each section can be edited. And again, this is also in the video that we have on our website, but you can edit the length of time. So right now, this job is at the default, which is actually a month of that job being posted. So that you can edit the job details here and change how long that job is posted on your on the website. So that's how in each section you can go in and edit the sections throughout the job if you want to change the date. Once you get that job posted and once you save it, that's where it'll be. Okay. Then the next thing I want to show you are a couple of really neat tools that you can do with your applicants. And you go here under recruitment plan. There's a lot of different ways to get here. For today's demonstration, I'm just going to show you this. You go to the folder marked recruitment plan and you expand that and you can kind of see some other things open up. The first thing I want to show you is virtual recruiter. And so we're going to go into virtual recruiter. And with virtual recruiter, it actually gives you an option to create a new resume alert. So we're going to do that. And so there are tabs going across here that you can set up your alert with these different tabs. You can do a quick resume alert or more advanced, and it gives you a lot more options under advanced if you go with that. Lots of different ranking criteria. For today's purposes, because we're a little limited on time, and I'm going to go with the quick version. And so desired work location is Iowa. It kind of defaults to that, but you can always change that. Keywords, I'm going to say, let's pick teacher. And then you can expand this and do keyword search options. And with that option, you can pick exact wording or phrase, which is the most focused, or you can say containing one or more of these words, containing all of these words. I'm going to say the broadest, probably the broadest is generally the best in today's world, but you do have the ability to make it a little more narrow in your, basically it's giving you a notification when somebody puts a resume with, let's say, the word teacher. Then you'll get a notification. Occupation, this is a choice that you need to make regarding the ONET code, and Department of Labor has codes. So these are, might seem like some wide areas of occupation groups, but we're picking educational, instruction, and library occupations. Education level, I've had a few schools say, I only want people with a degree to apply for jobs with me. So you can actually narrow that down to a bachelor's degree or other different degrees, depending on your job. If you're looking maybe for a custodian, they may not need a degree. If you're looking for cooks or other different occupations within your school, you obviously you'd have varying degrees. Salary range is also an option. You can pick salary ranges. We're not going to for this one. Modification date, it will actually default to 90 days if you don't pick anything. And then if you're really interested in hiring a veteran, that's also an option as well. So then you click on search. We'll spin a little bit. And it'll bring up all of, it'll actually bring up some resumes of people that match that criteria. And then you can save that search criteria. And this is where you set up that alert. So it will alert you. You can name it, you know, let's say you name it K-12 teacher or teacher. How often do you want it to run a search in our system? Do you want it daily, weekly, monthly? How do you want to receive that notification? We highly recommend email. If you're willing to look at people who might match without a resume on file, you can click that box. And then you can say, I only want to see alerts for the next month or the next 2 or 3 months. You can set up the date that will expire. And then who on your staff do you want to receive that information? The HR director, a principal, a teacher. You want everybody on your team to see it. You can be selective with your contacts that are in IowaWorks as well on who will receive those alerts. And then once you've gotten all those choices made, then you click save, and it will save the virtual recruiter alerts that will be coming to you based on the criteria that you chose. So you'll get those alerts however you set them up to work with applicants. Okay, we're going to go back to that recruitment plan folder and look at job applicants specifically. Now, these are applicants who have already applied with you. We've had schools and different employers ask us, I've got all these applicants. Now I want to have a way to just filter and only look at the applicants that really match my job description. So if you go again under recruitment plan and click job applicants, it will bring up job applicants that you have and all of the jobs that you have posted that are actively posted. Well, you can also include inactive ones. If you choose that, it'll bring up other inactive previous people who have applied for your jobs. But we're going to say view applicants for current open and available job orders. And then here's all the different jobs that are currently active. Just for demonstration, we're going to not pick any of those. So we're looking at all job applicants for every job that we have in the system. And then there's an area over here that says job filter criteria that you can choose. And this is where you can, again, filter out of the applicants who've applied for all of your jobs or even just one of your jobs. You can filter out those applications, the applicants that have applied. You can filter it by date. I only want to look at somebody who's applied in the last 7 days because maybe I looked at the other ones from last week. So I just want to look at those last 7 days. Rating. This is something that you can go in as people apply and give them a rating of if they're suitable, exceptional, and that'll kind of organize your applicants as well by giving them a rating. Skills matched. You can, as they match the skills that you have posted in your job order, you can, again, filter those applicants by how much they match your skills, how they've applied. You can do it that way. Again, desired location, distance from where you are, education. This is another big one. I only want to look at the applicants who've applied who have a degree. So you can do it by that. Status. You can change the status of the applicants. If you have questions in your application, as you create the order, that's again included in the video, you can create questions in your job order. And if they match your questions, you can determine that too, and filter them out. The job applicants will still stay with you under your file, but this is just a way, if you're looking for a quick way to look at those applicants and filter them out, to take a closer look at the applicants that you really want to drill down on a little bit. And then just, you know, as part of your job order, you may have some general requirements as well, so you can sort that way. Age, different things, driver's license. Again, remember that this applies to all employers in our system. So some other employers may have some other different ways that they want to narrow down their filters when they're looking at applicants. So that's a way that you can use to basically filter the applicants that have already applied and make some notes and do some things with them there to kind of just keep on file. Okay, is there any questions from that brief demonstration that we just did? Or any other questions?
Well, first off, Nikki, thank you for that. So as Nikki just demonstrated, there's and again, we understand that IowaWORKS is different from Teach Iowa, and a lot of it is learning the different functionality features that are within this particular system. But as Nikki demonstrated, there are ways to, number one, extend your job orders past 30 days. And many of the times from the question I receive is many of the times it's things set for the default and just not understanding where you can edit those things. So Nikki, thank you for showing that. But also, as you're looking at, again, managing your applicants, the rating system you can give them, again, running the virtual recruiter, we all are really busy, so being able to run that virtual recruiter to, again, sort of screen those applications or really those resumes as they're coming in. All those things can be really useful and understand how to make that functionality work for you. So hopefully that, again, brief demonstration is useful, and the videos we recorded are useful. But again, this is going to be me really saying as a broken record, those are great opportunities to reach out to your local area contact. So those of you that are in the Waterloo area, Nikki would be your contact. For those of you in the Marshalltown area, Maria would be your contact. But there's contacts across the state. Give them a call, send them an email. We work tightly as a team. So if you're working with someone, if something comes up that they're not familiar with or they need to follow up, they will reach out to their team leads, they'll reach out to me, and we will always get an answer for you. And if we need to escalate it, we will escalate it. But just to let you know that we really want to be as open, available, and as helpful to you as we possibly can. When in doubt, just ask us a question and we will work with you. So I saw a couple things in the chat. I'm just making sure I haven't missed anything.
So it looks like Jesse has put in some questions that were directly sent to me. I shared those over with you, Brian.
Okay.
There's a few questions about requiring an email address from applicants. And that is, I believe, part of what you can put in your questions on the job order. Correct me if I'm wrong, Maria, on that, but I believe as part of creating your job order, there's an area where you can ask for an email address and contact information when they apply. There's also a question about collecting cover letters and recommendation letters. Looks like we just had Chris Nellis join us too.
Yep,
Okay,
I just let her in.
so
Yep.
yep, so there is a place where you can again request those as part of your job job order creation process. Again, I believe that's video number 3. If you go through and watch that video, that might give you some ideas on where you can request the cover letters and recommendation letters. And then the veteran hold, I did talk about that a little bit. Jesse, there is no eliminating that veteran hold. You cannot shut it off. It is required because there is a Jobs for Veterans Act where veterans get priority of service, and you cannot turn that off. That is a feature of IowaWORKS that is not changeable and will not be changeable.
Sure. And the reason that, I'm
24
sorry,
to 48
Nikki.
hours.
Yep. So the reason that that exists, just to also explain this, so you may wonder, well, when we're using maybe another system, why that didn't exist. So understand what IowaWORKS is at its very core. So IowaWORKS is a state workforce agency job board. So because it is the job board or the job system that is used by a state workforce agency, I'm sorry for that, which is what IWD are. There are certain federal rules that we have to comply with. And 2 of the ones that you will see probably most in your most day-to-day using of the system is what Nikki pointed out, and how jobs are categorized. So because we have to comply with what the federal government's rules are, we use occupational code, some people call it ONET for short, that talks about the various categories that our jobs have to go into, because all jobs can be filtered into our system. So we have to use the ONET code, which what I'm referring to is when Nikki was demonstrating, she said the part that says education and library and instruction type jobs. That's a specific way we have to categorize all jobs. We're looking for a teacher, a welder, an IT professional. The other part is compliance with the Jobs for Veterans Act, so the JVA, which requires, again, when she's saying veteran priority of service, is having those jobs be available specifically for veterans. So we are unfortunately unable to turn that off, because we were to turn that off, we'd have to be breaking a law that we're required to follow. So I understand that question, where that comes from, but we are not allowed to turn that particular feature off when it comes to that. When it comes to any type of questions regarding any applicants that you are receiving, one of the things is if you're getting fraudulent applicants, number one, if you're getting red flags by applicants, obviously managing those. But if you see, again, things that are happening in the system that you are concerned about, let us know. Let us know. And we can always escalate questions, try and get answers to them. If anything's happening in the system that you feel is problematic, we will always be here to help you. Nothing is there we can't unfortunately fix upon unless we don't know about it. But also some of those things, because we are a large system, if there's things that are occurring that are not going the way you wanted to, or things you want follow-up and feedback on, start with whether it's your business engagement consultant or with us. We will definitely get you answers or try and assist with the problem. So I hope that answered the question specifically regarding the veterans hold. So why that exists, and why unfortunately we're not able to change that. Or I shouldn't say even unfortunately, why we're not able to change that.
Right. And veterans are really great job candidates. I've actually talked to a couple of schools that have, through our system, hired veterans, and they do searches. You can actually narrow your search and specifically look for veterans. So it's not that nobody's seeing them. Veterans are seeing them first, and they are also amazingly great candidates for some occupations.
But again, thank you for your questions. And again, those questions are what we want to hear. So thank you for those questions. And again, we'll always get you those answers. So do we have any other questions? Again, feel free to unmute, feel free to put them in the chat. But any other questions or comments as we're moving through our office hours time? As we are waiting to see if any additional questions come through, I'm going to put my email address, my email address into the chat. Again, I think I've said this a handful of times at this point. But my name is Brian Dennis. I'm the Business Engagement Bureau Chief. So I want to make sure you know how to contact our team at any level. So again, going back to our education jobs on Iowa Work site, feel free to always use that map as a reference for your local area BEC. And as you know those BECs, you'll know how to contact them directly. We have our wonderful team leads in Nikki and Maria, and then I again am their bureau chief and their supervisor. So feel free again to reach out at any level for assistance, and we will be here to assist you. So other questions regarding what we discussed, things regarding the system, any additional information we can give you, we're more than happy for that time for those questions. Well, with that, we don't necessarily need to end early, but I also don't want to hold people on the line. I know it's a Friday and we're all very busy people. So we can definitely close up the meeting and give you about 15 minutes of your Friday afternoon back. Again, my name is Brian. We've been joined by Nikki Lissel and Maria Morales. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. If you have any questions that come up 5 seconds after you hop off the line, feel free to reach out to your BEC, to myself, to the team leads. We have our general email box and phone number as well. Feel free to reach out to us. And again, we thank you so much for your time and we will respond to your questions. So again, with that being said, I will let everybody get to the rest of their Friday. Thank you again. And we do have one more set of office hours scheduled for next Tuesday at 11 a.m. as well. So thank you again and have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye. Again, good morning. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully I'm continuing to show the education jobs on Iowa Works page. Can I get a thumbs up on that? Wonderful. Okay. So again, my name is Brian and I'm the Business Engagement Bureau Chief. The reason that we're starting on this particular web page is to show individuals how to navigate a lot of the resources and things that we have currently on our education jobs on our works page. So I'm going to scroll down, show you a variety of things from both the education employer side of things, as well as a couple things on our page that might be useful for individuals seeking employment in education. So as I scroll down the page, and again, hopefully you're all familiar with this, but this is the page, and if this is new or you only go to it every so often, it might be worth bookmarking this page. But as I scroll down, as you see at the top of this page is just really how we got to the transition and talking about the Iowa Senate File 560, which is the piece of legislation that really spurred on this particular transition and additional information regarding that from a legislative standpoint. If you continue to scroll down, there's information regarding our new system, as well as a variety of resources for assistance. So first up is assistance for educators. And what we have here is we have our job posting guide, which you are free to always come back here, download it, and save it for your own use. We also have some updated videos, and I'm going to revisit these here in a moment, but these videos are really in response to some questions that we got from educators regarding Iowa Works, the system, and different parts of using the IowaWORKS.gov system for posting jobs and answering a few questions. So I will go back to these here in a moment. If we continue to scroll down, we see our Iowa Works desk aids. These are a variety of documents that can be really useful for navigating our system. So feel free to look at any of these to get your answers, as well as when we first started doing some training and working with educating hardcore on this transition, there were several trainings that happened in the month of July. This is the slide deck from that. And IWD has a pretty robust YouTube channel. So the link that you see here on the screen is how to go to the IWD YouTube channel that has the videos that are actually already on this page are also on that YouTube channel, previous trainings that were done part of the summer. And also if you want to look a little longer back, different trainings, videos, and information regarding IWD. But one of the most useful things on this page from a resource for you is going to be the Business Engagement Consultant map. So I'm going to open that. And again, just to check my sharing, am I showing the map? Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
So first off, I want to make sure that everyone is clear on really who really should be your first point of contacts regarding IWD. So again, my name is Brian, and I am very honored and privileged to lead a team of what we call our business engagement consultants, or BECs for short. So we have 16 business engagement consultants that serve the entire state of Iowa. And these individuals are really here to assist you with any questions you have regarding posting jobs, really getting your jobs posted, any question with job orders, working with, again, filling your employment needs. So what we have on this page, and we will always update this if there's any changes, is this business engagement consultant map and contact list. So the first part of it is just a map of our state that breaks down which business engagement consultant, or BECs, serve the areas in which you may be. So this is always a great place if you're not sure who your business engagement consultant is, or maybe you talked to them a while back, you've lost their contact information. We all get very, very busy. Here's how you can track down who your business engagement consultant is from a map standpoint. If you go to page 2, this is that same information as a different type of detail. So that will tell you the Iowa Works office. We sometimes say the term America's Job Center as the location that these business engagement consultants work primarily out of. Some of them cover offices in different parts of the state, the counties that they serve, also their name, their phone number, and all the phone numbers that are listed here are their cells, and then their email contact. By the way, if you, on this page, if you were to hover over anyone's email, so I'm just going to go to Laura's information. If you were to click on, if you were to hold control and click on Laura's email, it will actually open up your email platform and allow you to email any BEC directly. So again, if I really want to stress that the business engagement consultant, the BEC team, is really there to support you, as well as the BEC team really is a strong team. So Nikki and Maria are incredible team leads, and as their business engagement, as the bureau chief of the group, I'm very, very proud of the team. So feel free to reach out to any particular BEC. You have their team leads information, and again, before today's call is over, I'll also put my information in the chat as well. I've talked to multiple schools, and I'm always happy to do that as well. But I just want to, as I hit back, just stress this is a great place to find the contact for your business engagement consultant if you're not sure who they are, just want to update your contacts. Down here, we have basically the office hours that we've had, as well as, again, number one is going to be your direct contact to anyone in the business engagement team, but we also have a general email address and phone number that can be found here as well. In addition to assisting on the employer side, we also want to make sure we are providing assistance on the job seeker side. So we have a couple upcoming webinars that are specifically for job seekers looking for employment in education. For any individuals that are looking for that, they would again go to this register link for February 9th or the 23rd. Again, both those webinars are at 9 a.m. If you click here, this is going to be the registration link. And to check, I'm showing the registration link, correct? Okay, thank you. And if you, sometimes depending on where your mouse kind of lands when this page opens, there is a scroll bar here. And to register, if you just pull down, again, the first of those specific for education job seekers is going to be February 9th at 9 a.m. And then the next one is going to be February 23rd, also at 9 a.m. If you scroll down, that is where you complete the registration link. However, I don't want anyone to feel that they have to wait until the 9th or the 23rd, or those are the only opportunities for job seekers to really connect with assistance with moving to employment in education. At any time, today, tomorrow, after the 23rd, feel free to contact our local area offices for any assistance. If you're not familiar where that local office is located, if you click the link here with contact your local Iowa Works office, that is going to bring up a map of all of our locations, but also a listing of the various locations. And if you click on any location, it's going to give you their address, their phone number, email contact, and all of our offices are typically open from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Individuals can contact the office. They can honestly just walk in to the office, enter the office, and there will be someone there that will be able to help them on a one-on-one basis. So feel free again to call the office, to contact the office, however you would like. But if you happen to know of a person looking for assistance with navigating our system from the job seeker side as well, please, please, please share that information and just tell them, come into the office and we are more than happy to assist them. But again, we do have those 2 webinars coming up on February 9th and February 23rd, respectively. The last thing I'm going to cover before we pause for any questions or comments from the group is just revisiting these videos that are at the top or near the top of the Education Jobs on Iowa Works page. Each one of these videos is 2 things. Number one, they are made in response to some common questions we've gotten from educators that we've been making this transition. The other part of them, they're all relatively short. And I'm going to say relatively short because one of them is actually done by me, which is kind of long. But each one of these videos is relatively short. I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of them. Part 1 is just an introduction and really a welcome message from our division administrator. Her name is Kathy Anderson. This video is pretty short. It's about 2 minutes, and it's really just Kathy, again, extending a thank you and a welcome message to all of you in partnering with us. Part 2 is the video that I did. Again, it is the longest one. It is roughly 18 minutes long, though, so it's not super long. And the reason that this one is long, that I want to go to a lot of detail for educators, for any of our partners, on really how to use the job search and filtering functions within IowaWorks. Sometimes I will get calls, or anyone on our team will get calls going, I can't find my jobs. I know jobs are posted. I know jobs are being sent over from our website, but I'm not sure how to find them. Part 2, the second video, really walks you through how to find those jobs on both the general way and a couple of different ways of searching, but especially specifically on how to locate opportunities for individuals who are wanting to be administrators or principals. That, again, has been a specific question that has come up, is how does an individual locate a principal position across the state, or how can I ensure that my principal position is showing? So again, the video itself is roughly 18 minutes long. The tail end of that is specifically on those administrator type positions. So again, feel free to give that a watch, or again, feel free to contact your local business engagement consultant or anyone on our BEC team if you have questions. The third video is done by Nikki Lissel, who's also going to run through some demos with us here in a few minutes. And this is really about creating job orders, because that obviously is first and foremost on anyone's mind. And also not only how to create a basic job order, but how to do a custom job order. A lot of what was sparked in this video are individuals stating that my jobs are always closing after 30 days. I need to extend that, and how to do it. So Nikki walks through a lot of the functionality on how to edit job orders to really customize them. But one of the big ones she talks about is, again, making sure that that job order stays open as long as you want to have it open. So again, that is a part of the third video. The fourth one is how to do an advanced candidate search, or to utilize our virtual recruiter functions. This is a great functionality that helps you when you're doing your candidate search. So things that you can do a guided search yourself, or you can even set up things to be done automatically to alert you when looking at potential candidates. Part 5 is related to indexing. And some of you may have heard the term indexing, some of you may have not, but I guarantee you the majority of you are at least talking about indexing. So indexing is a process in which jobs can be brought over, let's say, from your specific website, your career site, and populated on IowaWorks. So that process is called indexing. So then this is a short video, it's less than 5 minutes, but this talks through kind of what that process is. Again, we use the term indexing internally a lot. That may or may not be a term you're familiar with. So just to explain what indexing is, how it works, and what are those needed piece of information to get your jobs indexed. If you have any questions on indexing, feel free again to contact your local business engagement consultant. But this video, again, is fairly short, is worth a watch. And then we can always talk about any questions or problems or anything you're having regarding the indexing process. And then the last piece is just printing out applicant information. Again, we had a few questions that came in going, I'm trying to print some applicant information. I'm having some blank spots. I'm not getting all the information. That one is led by Maria, and she talks through that piece. And again, that is also a fairly brief video. Hopefully these videos will answer some frequently asked questions. Hopefully they will be a resource for you to get more comfortable using our system. But the greatest tool that we're going to have, and again, it's all working together as part of this transition, are our relationships that we have with you. And those frontline individuals are going to be the 16 business engagement consultants. So feel free again to look at the map, get their contact information, reach out to you. I know many of them are constantly reaching out to the schools, and we really want to step up those efforts as well, because I know this is a prime recruiting time for education. So don't be surprised as you hear from the local BECs as well, just again, making sure that we are addressing any needs that you have. With that being said, I'm going to take a breath and really open for any questions regarding what I've already talked about or anything else that may be front of mind for anyone. So again, if there's questions in the chat, I've not been looking, but if we have questions in the chat, we can address those. But it's a great time to either unmute yourself or to type up questions in the chat.
Can I ask a question about, we posted a position. It was middle school athletic director in our small district. That's not a full-time position. It's basically a position where a teacher typically gets paid a stipend for doing it. But when I put it in, it kept wanting to say, we've compared and other occupations like this, and they put in like a salary range of 62,000 to 102,000.
Okay.
And I'm starting to get all these applicants, and there's no way any of these applicants are going to relocate to our small district.
Sure.
For what would probably be a $4,500 stipend.
Okay.
And I didn't have a place to put that in.
Okay. All right. And Mike, I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. I see you as West Fork as your school district. So, and that's one of the things built into our system regarding some of those wages. What we can work with you, Mike, on is I want to really connect you with our business engagement consultant to talk about some of those options to see how we can get those labor. Our system pulls a lot of labor market, like I said, those comparisons with what you're seeing. We want to make sure, though, that we can make sure that if someone is in a position to understand what the actual pay is and how we can better address that. So we got your information, Mike. So what we'll do is we'll follow up with you really quickly to make sure we can address that, if that would be helpful for you, sir.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Mike, that's a great question. Other question, again, feel free to unmute or put your question in the chat.
Ryan, Alex Stubbers with Sadell. Hey,
Hello,
question
sir.
for you on the search function.
Yes.
So I watched your video, watched a couple of the videos, was trying to do a search of just our active postings out there based on the zip code.
Okay.
When I did that search, it was pulling Ankeny schools, Des Moines schools, Waukee schools, which I know also has to deal with how many miles I've got for the surrounding.
Sure.
Never pulled my own postings for Sadell.
Okay.
Is there something with my settings that I have to adjust, or how do I get our own postings to show up?
Sure. So I will talk a little bit about that without looking at your school specifically. So a couple things may be happening. So one of the things that may be happening is since you're not seeing your own schools is are you currently Alex, I'm make sure I said your name correctly. Are you posting your jobs directly to our website? Or are you working with, let's say, Frontline or another vendor to have them moved over to our website? Because that'll help me kind of answer your question.
Both. So kind of our coaching jobs, I'm allowing Frontline to pull over. our
Okay.
teaching jobs, I'm directly inputting into Frontline or
Okay.
into Iowa Works.
Okay, so what I'll do is after this call, I will confirm that we have the correct, because sometimes what causes that disconnect is just the link that we use to pull those jobs over. Again, that's that indexing piece. Sometimes we have the incorrect link because sometimes that link just changes. So if that link is not correct, then we need to make sure we have the correct link, and then the jobs will begin to populate. So that can be thing one. The other part of it is this. If you don't mind me asking you, sir, currently, do you have at least 5 jobs that you're posting for your school?
Yes.
Okay, that's the other piece. And again, that refers back to that indexing video. When you're using, anytime the thing's going to be moved over to our site, there have to be at least 5 openings for that indexing process, that link to work. If there are less than 5 jobs, the link actually breaks. We've talked to the vendor, which is National Labor Exchange, or NLX, who handles that piece of it. They've explained that if it's less than that, that is something that honestly, if it's less than that, it just, the system just does not work. So if that is the situation, then we gladly will help you post your jobs at 100%. But what I'll do is I will actually follow, I will look at yours specifically once we get done today, and we'll get back to you. So I've got Alex Stubbers with Saydell, but that's a couple things that are common errors. Is either the link that we have is incorrect, or somehow there's been a change there. So I'll just make sure, and also make sure that all of these things have been confirmed for your jobs to move over. So I will work on that, and you will hear from me most likely a little later on today. Okay, sir?
Perfect. Thank you, Brian.
You're very welcome. It looks like there's something popped up in the chat. I'm going to scroll down, but if anyone wants to unmute, feel free. But I'm just scrolling down in the chat as well. I thought I saw something.
Can I ask another question while you're scrolling through the chat?
Sure, Mike. Go right ahead, sir.
This is Mike Kruger from West Fork. We also, I'd posted for some para positions, and when we reach out to some of the applicants, for some reason, they're saying, I never applied for your position. However, they're showing up. I got an email in my inbox saying, hey, you got a new applicant. It shows up. We have contact information, but then when we call them, they're telling me no,
they've not applied. Okay. All right.
So how are they showing up on West Fork's candidate pool or whatever?
So when it comes to that, Mike, what I would ask you, and I'm really not just Mike, to anyone, if you're seeing things like that, let us know, because that's one of the things that we can always look at our IT team and go, hey, these are just things we're getting reported. So to answer your question, I'm not sure, but those are things that we would like to know so we can make our team aware of that. So if you're hearing from candidates that, hey, I didn't apply for that, I'm not sure why that's pointed out. Again, this is a good time. I'm going to put my email address in here. Shoot me over that as an email, because those are things that, we can follow up on. Okay. And again, I don't type and talk well at the same time, so please forgive me. Okay.
Hi, Brian. This is Doug Kirkbrake out at Center Point.
Yes.
One of the benefits of our last program is that if we didn't have a huge applicant pool, we could type in search criteria. And perhaps I missed that earlier because I kind of been in and out of my office a little bit here.
Sure.
But is there a way that you can search like who has this degree and is eligible to teach the ELA? How would you do something like that?
So that is perfect. You did not miss that. So a couple things. That is actually one of the pre-recorded videos you have, but also that is what Nikki's going to demonstrate when we move to the next part. So you actually have not missed that. That is actually coming up very soon.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. So I'm looking in the chat and I see a question from Justin, and I'm going to read that, and then Justin will talk about your question. Okay, so I'm going to read your question out loud, make sure I understand your question. So Ankeny has an applicant tracking system. I'm sorry, by our para schools, our position being pulled over directly to the IWD site. Is there a way that job posts can be linked directly to our website? I've had to fill out applicants to IWD and then another application for our school district. So I'm gonna also ask this to Nikki and Maria to make sure I'm understanding this. So your jobs are being pulled over, again, indexed to our site, and then if a person's applying for a job through that, you're saying that they have to, you want them to apply directly to you instead of, and again, I'm just rereading, make sure I'm understanding, instead of having the candidate fill out application through IWD and then another applicant on our school district site. So Maria and Nikki, again, if you two want to pop in and make sure I'm understanding the question, does that sound, so if the individual does it, they have to do 2 applications?
No, the individual doesn't have to do an application. Hi, this is Maria Morales, one of the team leads. So it just depends. So if for Power School, it's actually they're scraping the jobs, so it's different than indexing. So certain providers have the ability to do the indexing. So we would just have to look to see if Ankeny School District, if it's being indexed through NLX or if it's being scraped from Power School. If it's only from Power School, it's probably scraped, not indexed, but we can take a look at that. But to answer the question is, every jobs that are being indexed into Iowa Works with NLX, the National Labor Exchange, there will be linked just one link, meaning one application. So once they click to the school website, or let's say to Iowa Works, that job posting, when you click on the link to apply, it will redirect them to your school website or to your applicant tracking website to apply. It won't have them fill out an application for IowaWorks and also for your applicant, because it will link that link directly to your website, the school website. But we will make sure to see that Ankeny is being indexed through NLX, or if it's being scraped in, which Power School are scraped in, not indexed in.
Yeah, this is Justin. It might be scraped. Usually it takes about a day for those jobs to post over.
Okay.
We do with Power Schools, we do have a little bit more data analytics that allows us for tracking purposes for applicants. So we're noticing a high flow of applications for all of our positions coming through Talent Ed in our website. We're not seeing the same data from iWorkforce Development. So it's just more of like, I've gotten 2 applications about 5 months ago when we launched this platform. Those individuals at that time filled out an application through iWorkforce Development, but then I had to contact them and then also have them fill out through our website. Okay. So I don't know if that was a beginning stages type of thing and it worked itself out, or if that is still a continuing process.
Okay. And again, for this, oh, go ahead, Maria.
Sorry, when an applicant views your job order, once they click apply, it will give them a couple options to apply if they want to apply through IWD or if they want to apply through, the different websites. And at times, maybe what happened was the individual clicked on IWD, like to send a resume, and maybe that's why they got it that way. But when it has like the applicant method, it will send them directly to that link that you put in the applicant method. So if the applicant method is a link to Power School, then it will redirect the applicant to Power School. So the application will come through the applicant pool from Power School and not from IowaWorks, because it's taking them directly to Power School's website. So maybe that's why you see the lower numbers, because whatever link you add for your application, it'll take them directly to that link.
Okay.
Hope it answers.
Yep, it does. And I will also test Brian that on Alex's point, I noticed too when we search for like teacher in Ankeny and I use the exact location, the top jobs that are coming up are like Ballard, North Polk, and then halfway to 3/4 down the page is finally Ankeny jobs. So I've also noticed that search thing for what Alex was stating.
I apologize. I was trying to respond to you, and I noticed I was muted. Okay, so I see both Sadell and Ankeny are showing those same thing when we look at our search radius. All right, thank you very much, and I will follow up on seeing again those wider ranges why your stuff are maybe further down. Okay, and we can get back to you on that. Again, these are all excellent questions. Thank you for bringing these to us. Other questions or comments? All right, thank you all for that. So what we're going to do now, and we're going to actually have a short demonstration in our system that really speaks to some of the questions, is how to do some maybe proactive applicant searching. So at this point, I will introduce Nikki Litzel, who is again one of our team leads out of the Waterloo area. Nikki's going to jump into Iowa Works and just show you a couple things in our system as well. So Nikki, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brian. I always like to start out by jumping in to answer a few questions that I get very often, almost daily, from a lot of schools that I work with. I've had schools ask me about that veteran hold. So if any of you are wondering about the veteran hold, that is, I've had people say, can we shut that off? We are not able to shut that off. That is actually a veterans have priority of service. So when you post a job for the first 24 to 48 hours, that job will be seen only by veterans because they have priority of service. IowaWORKS.gov is the state of Iowa's job bank for workforce development. And so due to regulations and laws, veterans have priority of service. So there may actually be some really great candidate veterans that may apply for some of your jobs that you might have available outside of teaching possibly. So just so you know, the first 24, 48 hours, there is no changing that. Those jobs will be seen by veterans, and then they go out to everyone else across the state after that.
And
The
if I
other
could
question
just
I get.
sorry,
Go
and to
ahead.
jump in with Nikki, and she's already said this point, but again, just as a reminder, and again, this is where, again, understand at the core what Iowa Works is, and Nikki said this so eloquently, is we are a state workforce agency's job bank, okay? And because of that, there's certain federal legislation that we have to stay in compliance with. And one of those, we hear the term priority of service, that is mean that we have to comply with a federal law that the jobs that are posted on our system directly have to fall within that. So again, this is a question that we've asked, hey, can I remove this? Can we change this? We are not allowed to change that. So again, I understand why people ask that question, but to Nikki's point, again, we are required just due to the very nature of our role as a state workforce agency that we are not allowed to change that due to federal regulations that oversee our agency. So, and sorry, Nikki, for jumping in.
That's okay. The other question we get very often is, my job is only posting for 30 days. What can I do about that? When you go through and create that job, it defaults to being posted for 30 days. I always recommend, once you've got everything put together in your job and you completed that job posting, go back in and you can edit section by section. And one of the things I highly recommend you edit is extending that job posting to 60 days, 90 days. I've had employers extend it out 6 months. So that is a feature you can change. It always just defaults to 30 days. And then you can go back into that job and edit it and extend that job posting. What if we set it for 60 days in our own applicant tracking system? I believe, I don't know if I know the answer for that, Maria, Brian.
Sure.
It's generally, I know through IowaWorks, when you're manually entering it in, you can extend it. But if it's through your own ATS, you can, if it's an outside system out of IowaWorks, that's a separate way of doing that, I believe. Right?
Nikki, this is Chris with I'm with IT. I'm the IowaWorks admin on the IT side. I can help you with this one. As long as the position is listed on your website and we are indexing or scraping your job will come in the feed. When your job closes on your site, then when that indexing job runs and it doesn't see that job there anymore, when we ingest the feed of indexed and scraped jobs, it closes the job on our site.
Hopefully that helps answer that, Anthony. Okay. With that, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and share my screen, but keep any questions in the chat coming if you have them. Anthony, I'm actually using Waterloo Schools as my example here. So, one of the things we want to demonstrate is once we've shown a lot of different ways on how to post jobs, but one other way is when you're looking at the recruitment part. So in your account under your profile, there's lots of different ways to get to your recruitment plan. For demonstration purposes, I'm just going to show this folder here. You can click on that. And then you have choices of job applicants, favorite candidates, and virtual recruiter. I'm going to do just a quick demonstration. So this is obviously once you've got those jobs posted, now what are some things to do on the applicant side? And you can click on virtual recruiter and you can create a new resume alert. So if you are looking for candidates that have certain degrees or certain types of experience, you can go into virtual recruiter and set up an alert. So somebody may put their resume out there today or tomorrow for a job that you have posted, and you're going to want to have an alert that they have done that. So for purposes today, you can pick the desired work location. We recommend when you do set up these alerts, making them more broad to start out, because just to kind of pull in all the potential applicants who you may want to consider depending on the job. There's a quick way and an advanced way. For today, we're going to just kind of go through the quick way, but you can click over to do advanced, which has a lot more criteria to filter and rank. But we're going to do the quick way today, which has a little fewer options, which again makes it a little bit broader search. So we're going to pick teacher for the keyword. And then you can expand this and pick how you want teacher to appear. It can be in exact wording or phrase, all of these words, or one or more of these words. This is the broadest search. Again, this is what we recommend, but it's really up to you how you want to do that. And then go to occupation. And this is where something called the ONET code, which is a Department of Labor coding system for occupations. And we would say pick educational instruction and library is the ONET occupation group that you would want to pick. Education level. This is where you would have those specialized degrees that you can pick. And we would say, for this purposes today, we can say a minimum of a bachelor's degree. And salary, if you're looking for certain requests of salary, you don't necessarily have to pick that, but you can. Maybe when they last updated their resume, you can pick that. If you want to look at just fresh, people who have freshly updated their resumes. And then obviously a veteran, you can also make some choices there. So once you have all of those things, then you can click on search. And then it brings up all these different people that follow into that category. And then from there, if you want to set up an alert, this is where you save the search. And this is where you can name your virtual recruiter alert. So if it's teacher, you can call it teacher. How often you want it to run an alert and notify you daily, weekly, monthly. How you would receive that, we recommend email. And then you can still, and then you can set up an expiration date on how, when you want that virtual recruiter information to end on. And then who you want it to go to. Well, we have Anthony on the call, or you could select everybody. So you can set it up to see who receives these alerts depending on the occupation that you want it to run. And then you just click save from there. But I'm not going to set this up for Anthony. He'll have to do this on his own. So that's one way, just very quickly, to do the virtual recruiter and set up alerts as potential new applicants come onto IowaWorks and might meet some of your job search requirements. I'm going to also show you what to do with job applicants, and maybe maybe we've had questions about, I have all of these job applicants and how do I sort through all of the job applicants that have applied for this job? So if you click on job applicants, it'll take you to this screen and you can choose whether you want currently open and available job orders or even inactive job orders. If there's, for some reason, I know there was an applicant that applied and you're thinking you want to go and look at them, you can pull up those applicants as well from even expired or inactive jobs. Then this is where all of your job openings are going to show up. And you can pick specific ones and start sorting through your applicants that way. Or you can say, you kind of just want to sort through all applicants for all jobs and do it that way. And again, over here is a little link that you can expand and do some criteria for filtering out the applicants, all applicants that have applied to your school district. So you can again sort by date. You can sort by rating. If you go into those applicants, you can give them ratings. And so if you know, like a week or two ago, you gave those applicants ratings, you can sort by that. Skills that match your job description. Application method, if you have you just want to look at applicants that have applied a certain way. Desired job location, distance for how far away they are from your district. Education level, this again is a big one. So if you only want to look at certain degrees of education, you can pick that. Again, salary, desired, applicant status. If you put them in any type of status, again, you can sort that way. If you've had questions on your application, how they match those questions. And then any other general requirements, and these would be general requirements that are included in your job order. So you can really narrow down by how much they're matching once they've applied. So if you kind of want to weed out people that might not match what you're looking for, you're able to do that through this filter. And then any other specialized requirements, if there's an age, driver's license, a lot of these may more likely apply to other employers, but if you really, really want to narrow it down, then you can do that. And then you can hit filter and it will only show the applicants down here that match those requirements that you chose up here. So that was a very quick demonstration. We're kind of getting a little lower on time, but just to give it a little demonstration and allow time for any additional questions if anybody has it.
Nikki, thank you for that. And also, as you're navigating through those systems, Nikki demonstrated, if you're unfamiliar, just want a little help, that's a great time again to reach out to your business engagement consultant, to this team, and just say, hey, I'm trying to figure this out. And we always be more than happy to jump in and assist you. But with that being said, we have about 14 minutes left based on my clock. I would like to reopen the time for any questions or comments. I thank you all for the questions, the comments we've gotten so far, but if anything else people would like to ask, feel free to either unmute or put in the chat.
I have another question if I could.
You know, Mike, that's number 3. I think you're at your list. I'm kidding. Please, Mike, ask away.
I know. Well, all right. As you were talking, I was going into my, I'd like to be able to search my applicants. However, we're not getting many applicants to have to search.
Okay.
So
Sure.
what I was doing is doing your virtual recruiter thing, and I set that up quite a while ago. And I put in a pretty generic term, special education.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that now posts an application that has special education as their certification, I should get notification on, right? Well, I went and I set up daily alerts. Every day I get an email saying there are no candidates that match your applicant search.
Okay.
Does that seem odd? 9 days, not one person uploaded a resume, a candidate that had special education as a background. Same thing with Spanish.
Okay.
It just seems odd. That's why I'm getting frustrated.
Sure.
I'm having a heck of a time getting applicants for anything.
Sure,
And it just
sure.
seems odd that nobody's on the site. Thank you. I'll quit and just kind of listen.
No need to quit. But I think a part of that also is, again, to make sure that we're having people that really know on the front end to make sure that they are accessing the Iowa Work system as well as posting jobs. So I know you have jobs that are open right now. What I can tell you is we also want to make sure, and I think we've heard that from a couple different partners of, hey, we want to make sure we're getting quality applicants. So that's a lot of the work that one of the other teams on our agency is really doing, is make sure we are being proactive in getting the information out. So make sure that quality applicants are using our system, because this was a change, this was a change that came in, a few months ago. So making sure, so if your virtual recruiter isn't pulling anything, then maybe that's, again, something that we can work with you individually on to see maybe there's different ways of keyword, and by the sounds of you're putting in what would be relevant to the jobs that you're looking for. But we also want to make sure we have a dual approach, is not only make sure that we're doing this assistance to educators, but also making sure that we're pushing this out to potential applicants who know to go to the system as well. So I wish I had a great answer for you, other than, as far as transition, if you're not seeing those applicants, talk to us as either your specific BEC or the AJCs on holding that. Because that the other function that we can do, and you may have already used this, sir, is that if you find in your particular area, if you're having a struggle with getting candidates, there may be other things we can do to help. I hate to say the term drum up business, but to push your information out, whether it's job fairs, directed search, things we can help as well. So I want you to know that the recruitment part of the system is not only the virtual recruit, that's a great tool, but there's other things we can help as well, to help specifically made for your local area, your district, to, again, find those quality applicants.
Can I ask
Dennis,
one other question?
Brian, can I add on to what you were saying?
Feel free, Chris.
Hi, so my name is Chris Nellis. Again, I work in IT as the admin for IowaWORKS. And we know this is new for everyone. And part of what we're working on is a two-pronged approach. So we're working with educators as employers in writing better job orders. So putting the endorsement, the description of what the endorsement requirements actually in your job description is one of the things that we're recommending, so that job seekers can find that. It's kind of like teaching you guys both to speak the same language. The other way that we're working this exchange is that we're working with our job seekers who are teachers who haven't had to work with us before, to let them know how to find those jobs with those endorsements and how to set their information up in IowaWORKS so that they are searchable from the educator, the employer side of things. And so it's not, we're not just working with the educators, we're working with the teachers as well, to make sure that the same language is being spoken. And so putting the endorsements on the resume is important so that it comes up in your recruiting matches. It's also important to put those endorsements in the job description, so that when a teacher is looking for a particular endorsement, they can search that by keyword and find those jobs as well. And so that's kind of how we're doing that. And so I'm sorry I interrupted you, but did that answer your question?
Well, kind of. One question I would have, and I heard others asking, we're a small district and I don't have another platform that we're trying to have talk to IowaWORKS. Do I have to post my application on two different sites, or can it read? How about the fact that we're having such a hard time getting candidates and getting word out to candidates where to find positions? Is there a way that, where all these candidates have been going for years, Teach Iowa could communicate with IowaWORKS, and that list could then automatically roll over to IowaWORKS so we could see them? Because in this day and age right now, teacher recruitment is a huge need in rural Iowa, and we can't get candidates. And if they don't know where to go, and this is where we're required to post, and I don't have another, I'm not in the metro area, I don't get applicants. We have to recruit. I got to go out and search candidates. So if I put in special ed or Spanish and nothing pops up, I used to be able to do that and Teach Iowa and get and find 60 candidates, and I could send them all an email saying, hey, not sure if you're looking, but if you are, we have an opening. And at least I had a way to
Yeah.
reach out
There
to
is a
people.
But I
now
know that
feel like
I
have
know
to
that
do
with Teach Iowa, that wasn't an automatic thing when it started, right? It grew into that. This will grow into that as well. We, you know, we've had the job postings and the applicant pool for a few months. So it will grow into that. We just have to teach you guys how to speak the same language so it can.
And Mike, there is a way to do that. And I don't know if I can just jump in and demonstrate that really fast. But with your job posting, at the bottom of your job posting, there is a button that you can hit that says candidates that match this job.
Okay.
That's another quick way. I'll demonstrate if that's okay really fast. I'm actually in your job area here.
Perfect. Check that box for me.
Yeah. So, and it's not a perfect, again, as Chris mentioned, more people need to learn about this new system for sure. And it's not quite perfect yet, but as more people learn about it, there's going to be more opportunities to do this. But this is something you could do, again, in addition to virtual recruiter, you could do this. New people are posting their resumes on our site every day. And so I see your jobs listed here, but you specifically mentioned that special education job. So I want to go in and do that. It looks like you do have 5 applicants, but we're going to go in and see, in addition to those 5 applicants, here is your job. And you, as I mentioned earlier, you can edit each section. And this is where you change the date. You can click edit job details and expand that time, but you're good. You're through April for now. But down at the very bottom, I'm going to scroll really fast. Hopefully nobody gets dizzy, but there is a button here that says candidates that match this job. And you can click on that.
I'm missing that. Is that where's that at?
At the very bottom of every job order that you have, that you've created. The ones that you posted in IowaWORKS.
Yep.
Very bottom. And then you can find, then it'll bring up people that match your job description. And in some cases, they may have their information confidential because maybe they don't want their employer to know that they're searching. So you can send a message through our system. You can message them directly through our system and tell them, hey, I know you haven't applied for my job, but I'd love to set up a time to talk because your skills match what we're looking for.
Okay. And that was, you actually went to our West Fork special ed position, click find candidates that match my description. That was a whole list that just popped up for.
Yeah, and they match at different levels, so you do have to kind of sort through that. Again, that's where, as Chris mentioned, you really want to make sure your job description is written to a point where it can match really what you're looking for.
Okay.
But when you've got that perfected as best as you can, again, you can run candidates that match this job, and our system will sort out people that match on a certain percentage. They're all different percentages, but you can sort through those candidates and see if there's anybody that pops that hasn't applied for your job.
Right. And I will say, I mean, I've probably made it more general than specific because when I'm not getting applicants, I find that if I put BD or ID Strat 2, it's gonna narrow my search pool way down. So I leave it more broad. And then if I can get somebody that at least has part of the licensure, I can maybe recruit them and then get a conditional license and then get them certified. But so, all right. Well, thank you for that.
Hey, Nikki, is it okay if I jump in really quick? I know you have their account pulled up. Can you go to the virtual recruiter? I noticed that Mike, you mentioned that for the keyword search you had special education, but it looks like you have special education selected for the occupation. So you will only get resumes that have selected that they're looking for work for that specific special education and not the actual keyword. So I wanted Nikki to show you, that way you can see what currently are your current, search criteria. So you have it, the location for Franklin County, occupation is a special education teachers. But she'll pull it up that way you can see what I'm talking about. And we can change that too. So maybe that's why you're not getting any new resumes on a daily basis. Because maybe there's no new resumes that have selected the specific occupation for special education and teachers. Maybe we can change it instead of occupation to put it in the keyword section instead. So that would mean that any resume that has those words, you will receive an email for that.
There is a bit of a fine line there because I just did that with mine and I have over 500 applicants. So maybe maybe advice on how we can write those job descriptions to more appropriately pull, like, you know, again, and again, I can narrow the search, not a big deal. But if there's ways we should be writing job descriptions or ways we should be inputting things, because I can only speak for myself, I'm taking our school board approved job descriptions and uploading them into IowaWORKS for job descriptions. And so if there's key things that we maybe need to change on our end to help us in the long run, because I feel for Mike, you know, being out there in rural Western Iowa, it's going to be hard to find those applicants because we're in the same boat and we're in a metro area and we actively recruit people too.
And so I'll jump here and just say that is something that, again, we've kind of back to what Chris said, as we're getting more and more into this transition, there is not that you write bad job orders or bad job description, but again, it's how one system functions versus how another system functions. So we will definitely work with all the schools regarding job orders and anything we can do to better help make sure that those job orders, those job postings really are helping you find the candidates that you're looking for, as well as make sure that candidates are, again, writing as they're looking for positions. So, you know, now saying it again, make sure that the two sides of the house really talk together. I do see we have a thing in the chat about it's also the time. It is noon. So I'm going to actually throw this over to Nikki. Nikki, Anthony has I don't know if you this came in later in the chat, but Anthony had a couple questions regarding Waterloo. Nikki, could you follow up with him regarding his questions? Just as we are at noon, and we probably need to close up the Zoom. But I just want to know, Anthony, I don't want you to feel like we are ignoring you, but just given the time, we will follow up with you because you're saying there's some things, how some of your jobs may be showing. So Nikki will follow up with you. Okay. All right. I do want to.
One more thing to add.
Yes, please, Maria.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say one more thing to add is one thing, you know, that we work with employers is when we see a job order that's been open for a long time and not getting any applicants. One thing that we also do is reach out to that employer and look at that job description to see how it looks, to see if there's anything we need to do to tweak it a little bit to make it, you know, better, or maybe changing the verbiage. So we will also remind our team that if there's if you see any job orders that are you're not getting a lot of applicants, feel free to reach out to your local business engagement consultant and let them know, hey, can we meet and look at our job description to see if there's anything that we need to do to change it, make it more appealing for job candidates to apply, because we will also help you with that.
All right. So again, I want to thank you all for joining us today. Again, great questions. I want to again thank Nikki, Maria, and Chris for their time. My name again is Brian Dennis. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. We have Maria did a fantastic job of tracking questions, and as I wrote down a bunch of them myself. So we will follow up with folks. Many of you had some very specific individual things about your school, so we'll follow up with you all. Again, thank you all very much. Please, please, please do not hesitate to give us a call, shoot us an email, and let us know how we can help you. Again, we will continue to work together as we're doing this transition. And with that being said, it is near the lunch hour for some of you, but I will let you get to the rest of your Tuesday, and we'll all be talking soon. Thank you so much.
Before you go, Jenny Stout, which school are you? You asked me a question and I need to know which school you are.
Hi, Jenny Stout, if you're still on, it shows in the attendance that you're still on. If you could let us know which school you are so we could follow up, or that would be really helpful. So again, also feel free to reach out to us if you get this information later. Just let us know and we will definitely follow up with you. So again, Jenny Stout, if you're able to let us know which school you're with, that would be fantastic. If not during this call, please feel free to reach out to us separate and let us know how we can help you. All right, with that being said, I am going to go ahead and close up the Zoom. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye.